Stated on there, yes.
Okay. Then I want to go back to the original question I asked about the allowing Mr. Copeland to speak with Mr. Garlington on a non-recorded line, okay?
I don't believe I stated.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Judge. May we approach briefly, please?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask you to address the witness and speak to the witness, and also, quite frankly, to speak to the DA as well. Because of the way everyone is positioned, they're obviously closer to the jury than anybody else. Their microphones are live, and what they say can be picked up on a microphone. A couple of times.
Sorry, who? The state says at their table?
And what the witness is saying. And there have been at least 3 occasions where the witness has either before or after a question muttered something and said something into the microphone that can be picked up.
Well, I certainly haven't heard it. I can barely hear the answers.
I am not the only one who's heard it. At that last exchange, I heard her say something, I couldn't make out what she said, into the microphone. I guess she was frustrated after the question. And it's being picked up by the microphone. And if I can hear her muttering over here, whatever she's saying can be heard to the jury. And it's just inappropriate. I think it's simple enough to tell her to not make any extraneous comments that can possibly be picked up by the jury. Same thing for the state. And we've actually addressed this before prior to this court's involvement in the case, where there have been times where the state, either out of frustration or who knows why they're doing it, says something, or they're making faces and they're saying something that can be picked up by the microphone, and because they're that close to the jury, I'm sure the jury can hear it too. So I'm just asking, as I've asked before, and as they have been told before, to be mindful of the things that they say and the fact that it can be picked up by the jury.
I can't say that I heard this because I was in the middle of everything, but I've been told by multiple sources that once my cross-examination was finished and Mr. Steele was going to begin, the witness said horrible.
Horrible?
Horrible.
What? Okay.
And she's sitting right next to the jury.
If the witness and or the state is saying things like that and the jury hears them, I cannot imagine that reflects well on either of them.
Your Honor, I have to say, I would ask that presumptions based on assertions by counsel for opposing for the defendants not be taken as true and then spoken as if they are by this honorable court, because I have no idea what Mr. Adams is talking about. I have not heard any mutterings. I don't know what Mr. Schardt is talking about. The state does not have the luxury to sit here and say what it believes someone from the defense is doing without it being cut off quickly. So I'd ask that the court not act on what is being asserted by counsel for the defendants as we stop these proceedings to address something nobody heard, but apparently Mr. Adams.
Fortunately,
and Mr. Schardt.
Fortunately, this trial is televised.
And Your Honor,
You know what? I'm going to stick with what I said before, which is if a witness wants to present themselves in that way in front of the jury, that is a reflection on that witness, and the jury can evaluate that. So, no, I'm not going to advise her or any other witness one way or, well, depends on what they say. And I didn't actually hear anything, but no, if she wants to make derogatory comments, then that is a poor reflection on her. And the jury, if they heard it, will notice it. And to the extent, I mean, I haven't, was that basically just about this witness?
It was about the witness and about the prosecution. And let's
Who's
be clear.
doing this, or you believe is doing something like this right now?
Yes, and who has done it before. I'm not just saying that. The court has addressed it before because it's happened before. So we're not making this up. She was
All right.
admonished previously by the prior court to stop doing that.
And you're saying she's doing it again, and it is making faces and or comments.
Making faces, making comments. It can be picked up by the microphone. These mics are live. And as Mr. Schardt pointed out, luckily, this trial is being televised and live
I
streamed.
don't know why that's lucky, because the jury is not going to watch the live stream.
I'm not talking about I'm saying
I mean,
that
the jury is the one deciding this case.
the person making the complaint about the behavior is the defendants. And I'm in support of what I'm saying. I'm telling you that we are not the only ones who have noticed this. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
Your Honor, and I would ask, I have asked that the microphone not be close to counsel's table over here behind, so that
which microphone are y'all even talking about?
anyone that can pick up conversation at the state's table, because I'm not trying to have our
No, it shouldn't be. You all,
That's-
any attorneys ought to be able to talk to each other at their table privately without anything being picked up. So I don't know if that means y'all want to turn off your mic, because we're in a big, awkward courtroom where nobody can hear anybody sometimes, but then apparently people can hear mutterings under the breath other times. So
we have it off. I've unhooked this, even though it was off. I don't want anything said at counsel table heard.
all right.
Period.
And then I don't know what the situation is with the mics that are on the back table, whether those are off.
No,
Okay. That mic being the podium mic, which has to be on.
So we have to be more conscious. Sometimes the podium mic can pick up our conversation because we're closest to.
Mr. Maurice has something to add, and maybe he knows because he's a media guy.
I'm not picking up her conversation. You can hear a witness. She's left a couple remarks towards the end of her.
Y'all, I guess because y'all are plugged straight into the system, y'all get to hear way more than we get to through the ambient air.
But we're not picking up any of their
Okay.
conversations.
okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, I wish we could hear as well as the live stream apparently can, but there's nothing that can be done about that. All right. Anybody need to use the restroom while we're on a break? Go ahead and do that now. And do we, I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess, but do we think we'll get through this witness today? Are there going to be other defense attorneys with cross? And then is there going to be redirect? I guess we'll just see what happens, but
To answer your question, at this point, no.
okay.